Welcome back, our fellow listeners, once again to South Coast Radio, and also welcome back to your favorite music experience. Where we bring you the best of local and international talent. Today, we are introducing you to a powerful and genre defining South African artist who is creating her own lane in the music industry. She is the creative force behind Tsonga country and the originator of Afro art rock. Her debut album Salt of Soil has just been released worldwide, and it's already turning heads for its bold sound and deep storytelling. Let us welcome the incredible, talented Dhahabu to South Coast Radio. Dhahabu, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. It's great to have you with us live on South Coast Radio. So, firstly, congratulations on the release of your debut album, Salt of Soil. How does it feel to finally share this project with the world?
It feels vulnerable, honestly. I think this album lived inside of me for a long time before it became the sound. So releasing it feels like opening a sacred diary and trusting the world with it. But it also feels right, The soil has finally exhaled in me, and it feels also exciting and feels new, and it brings me a lot of hope.
Wow, that's awesome, Dhahabu. So you've introduced a brand new sound called Tsonga Country. For listeners hearing that term for the first time, how would you describe it?
I'd say Tsonga Country is the sound of the land. When people usually hear country, they often think that it's a Western genre. Everyone associates it with Western genre. But for me, country is storytelling rooted in soil. So it's the native sound of the land, right? So whatever place you come from, the sound that is rooted in that soil or rooted in the culture of the people there, it is your country music. So my Tsonga country blends Tsonga melodies because I am a Tsonga person. So my oral tradition, my rhythms, and the language with obviously the emotional openness and the melodic structure of how people associate with the country music. So it's not really imitation, but it's a reclamation of what actually music is and sound is.
Yes, that's really awesome stuff. So Tsonga Country blends Tsonga melodies and storytelling with a Eurocentric country sound. What inspired you to bring these two worlds together?
I usually ask myself a lot of times, why are these worlds never placed in conversation? Because honestly, storytelling exists in every culture, right? Know the anecdotes of the antidotes of this country, and the longing just exists everywhere. So the rural identity exists everywhere as well. So instead of seeing them as opposites, I saw them as relatives, I think, because I wanted to create that bridge, but not to dilute either side, but to let them speak to each other.
Okay, so
this is why all together.
Oh, that's great stuff, Dhahabu. So the album title Salt of Soil is very powerful. What does that phrase mean to you personally?
So Salt of Soil speaks to identity, because that salt actually preserves, it heals, which is that's a natural process. So even as a human being, we are preserved. We heal. The bodies heal, and then the soil it births. That is like, it means like being preserved by where you come from. So that no matter how far you travel, your roots remain active in you.
Yeah.
So this album is about remembering that I am of the land, I am of my ancestors, I am of my language. And so
Awesome.
that's what inspired that very powerful album title, Salt of Soil.
Awesome stuff, Dhahabu. So you described the album as an ancestral offering. How important is lineage and heritage in your music?
For me, it's everything. I don't believe that I create alone.
Yeah.
I believe that I am continuing something. There's nothing new under the sun.
True.
So when I sing Tsonga, I'm not just singing the words, I am carrying the history and the lineage that gives my music that weight. And it gives me responsibility. And, the legacy has already been suffered for, died for, like our ancestors struggled, the power that they've like literally held on to, they've passed it on to us. And it's up to us to want to carry it on, especially as a woman of color. I feel that my lineage gives so much weight to my music.
Okay, so your songwriting touches on identity, love, power, survival, and emotional liberation. Was there a particular theme that felt most personal to you while creating this album?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think identity was the most personal. I asked myself, like, who I am without industry labels, without genre boxes, without society's expectations. So, yeah, this album was me choosing myself culturally, emotionally, spiritually. That was the hardest and most freeing thing that I've got to experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Dhahabu. Now you are also the mind behind Afro art rock. How does that genre differ from Tsonga country, and how do they both reflect who you are as an artist?
So Afro art rock is a genre that I've been notating for the past, I think this year is going to be the 10th year since I've been sitting down notating. I feel like it is one of the broader philosophies, because when I notated it, it was purely experimental, it was expressive, and I wanted to merge the two sounds, the Afrocentric sounds and influences with the Eurocentric sounds and influences. I wanted to cancel the culture of music classification, like where people are always just like, oh, white music, oh, black music. I feel like I wanted something that was more rooted in storytelling without that genre restriction, So I feel like it is, what can I say, like a sonic branch of that philosophy.
Right.
So if my Afro art rock is the tree, then like Tsonga country is one of the strongest branches that I wanted to come out of that, because I want to break the boundaries of music classification and us human beings attaching our sickness of race to art. And art is something that is purely about the inner world. So how can we put race prejudice onto something that is purely expressive? So both of the genres, they basically reflect my refusal to be boxed in a certain category.
100%. That's great stuff, Dhahabu. So being a genre-defying artist can sometimes be challenging in the industry. Have you found it difficult to create your own space rather than fitting into existing categories? Yes.
Yes. I think it was more difficult because it's part of like innovation, you know. The industry usually likes something that feels familiar, and you know they want you to do what's mediocre and like something that people can easily love and for and like the hands rhythm type of songs. But I think culture evolves because someone dares to disrupt it.
Yeah.
So I'd rather build a new room like than squeeze myself into one that doesn't that I don't fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes it is, you know, like difficult to create your own space rather than fitting into existing in those categories because you don't know how you're going to be received.
True. That's absolutely correct, Dhahabu. So this album is described as Volume 1 with Volume 2 already envisioned. Can you give us a hint of what's next?
Yes, volume 2 is gonna be more like I'm going to move deeper into like that expansion. I'm gonna take more risks.
Yeah.
I think with more growth also in like volume 2, more conversation between worlds.
Mhm.
It will feel like travel while still carrying like home inside of it.
Yeah.
You know, um, it will be more. I will explore and I will step out of that comfort zone. So I'm really excited for volume. I'm going to like dive deep into that expansion of that project.
Awesome, Dhahabu. So for someone listening to Salt of Soil for the first time, what do you hope they feel or take away from the experience?
I do hope that they feel seen. I hope that they will feel more grounded. I hope that they will understand that their culture is not a limitation, but it is a foundation. You know, I want them to feel like the land is singing back to them, and I want them to feel like they can also do it, you know, and
Yeah.
I want them it to be a healing journey rather than them feeling confused.
That's awesome stuff, Dhahabu. And one final question for this moment right now. Where can listeners find your music, including Salt of Soil, and follow you online?
Come again?
I was saying our final question is where can listeners find your music online, including Salt of the Soil, and also follow you online?
Yes, they can actually follow me on all socials. On Instagram, I'm Avril_October Sky,
Mhm.
and on TikTok, where I'm mostly active and have a larger fan base, I go as Dhahabu, means gold. My music is out on all streaming platforms. I'm so excited. Apple Music, we bumped into a glitch, so album wasn't out on Apple Music, but it should be live latest tomorrow. So, but on all streaming platforms, you can find Salt of the Soil, and my other EPs and singles are already out.
Wow, what an incredible journey and such a powerful body of work. And to the listeners, Dhahabu's debut album, Salt of Soil, is available worldwide right now. If you're ready to experience something bold, rooted in heritage yet globally resonant, this is definitely one to add to your playlist. Once again, Dhahabu, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your story and your sound with South Coast Radio. It's really awesome having you with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
Awesome. You're most welcome. Once again, to the listeners, stay tuned because we're going to be playing one of Dhahabu's songs from the album, which is called Yeehaw, Ria Ria, if I'm being correct of the title pronunciation, which is about to be played. Sorry?
Yes, you are correct.
Awesome. So it is Yeehaw Rere, and that is by none other than Dhahabu, coming up right about now. Stay tuned for that, listeners, and I will see you in a moment.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
This is South Coast Radio.